So, most important thing to know about midterm elections is that fewer people vote in them than vote in the presidential elections. So usually in a presidential election, we have about 50 to 60% of the voters turning out. In a midterm, you sometimes have maybe 40% of the voters turning out. So that difference accounts for a pretty stable finding in political science and political history, which is that the president's party almost always loses seats in the midterm elections. In fact, the average in midterm elections going back many decades is 30 seats. The other thing we know from history is that if a president is unpopular, he loses even more than the average number of seats. So President Trump's chronic unpopularity, he's never hit 50% in his time in office of approval ratings. That means that his party may lose, in fact, more than the average number of seats. All of this is just straight history, and it points to why Democrats are feeling good about this election and Republicans are nervous. You know, it's very hard to predict elections, and one of the ways we know that, of course, is just looking back to 2016, where Democrats thought they were going to win, and they didn't, or they didn't win where it mattered in the Electoral College. So what 2016 taught us is that it's not the macro picture, because Hillary Clinton won the popular vote, but it's really the micro picture. It's state by state and district by district. Here, the Democrats are in danger of being overconfident because so many of these congressional districts have been drawn to favor one party or another, usually the Republicans. And so we've had elections where the popular vote went for the Democrats, but the House of Representatives remained in the hands of the Republicans. That's a feature of something we talk about called gerrymandering, where they pack a lot of Democratic votes into one district, and then the districts around them tend to be Republican districts. So that's one of the reasons that Democrats may have a little bit more trouble than people are thinking. The second reason that Democrats may have trouble in 2018 and may not get the results they think they're going to get is that in 2016 we had an unprecedented rural vote in areas that we hadn't seen this kind of vote before. That kind of mobilization, which President Trump is very good at doing, that could in fact hurt some Democratic chances in districts where Democrats currently are looking pretty good. Let's face it, election predictions always rise and fall on one factor, which is who turns out to vote. And the pollsters and the pundits can guess at that. They can try to figure out who they think is going to vote. But in the end, as we saw in 2016, who turns out actually to vote can upend a lot of predictions.